The SEAL team didn't panic, not yet, but they were trapped. 3 walls of collapsing concrete, 1 alley choked with gunfire, no way out. The radio spat static. We've got no sniper. No air, we're pinned. Then came the shot. Clean, surgical, an enemy's. Machine gun shattered mid-burst. Another shot, collarbone. Dropped him cold. 1 SEAL blinked toward the ridge. We got backup? A voice broke through on the dead channel. Calm, female, no unit tag. Warden 3 clearing you a path, 1 round at a time. And just like that, hope returned. Not from command, but from someone they didn't even know was watching. Drop your city in the comments. We want to know where you're listening from. If this tale resonated, stay close. We've got more coming. Her name was Erin Blake, 31 years old. On paper, just a technical range assistant assigned to the SEAL training division. But anyone who'd spent real time on that base, anyone who knew the difference between a clean shot and a lucky one, understood something else. Titles lie. Erin didn't. She stood just 5'3". But her presence always filled the room before her boots did. Jet black hair tied into a sharp ponytail, coveralls streaked with gun oil and the dull glint of brass polish. She moved like someone who never wanted attention and yet demanded it anyway just by existing. Her daily grind? The things nobody wanted but everyone needed. Calibrating scopes. Translating technical manuals for the guys who barely passed basic. Logging target data from drones. Cleaning barrels, inspecting bolts. Logging the kind of numbers no one double-checked because she never missed. Some fresh recruit cracked a joke once during gear check. Uh-oh, here comes the barrel cleaning legend. The room chuckled until Colonel Colton Reeve walked by. Didn't stop. Just smirked and said, "Careful with that one. She'll outshoot half of you and make you question your career choice." They thought he was messing with them until the wind drift calibration test. One recruit fumbled his range card. Couldn't get his math right. Wind pulling the round off target every time. Erin stepped over, took 1 look, scribbled a correction on the side of the target sheet. Took her 8 seconds. He refired. 3 perfect hits. Dead center. No variance. He looked at her wide-eyed. "Where'd you learn to do that?" She barely shrugged. Just smiled. "I've fired through crossfire before." Eventually, the math becomes muscle memory. And then she turned back to her bench like it never happened. She never appeared in formal demos. Never asked to. Her name wasn't on plaques. She didn't care. Her workshop out back, it was something else. A vault of precision and silence. Rifles in various stages of assembly. Charts pinned like battle plans. And 1 custom workbench, lined with gear so advanced, even instructors kept their distance. She cleaned barrels with the focus of someone who'd cleaned them. After combat, and not just training, her breath slowed naturally when inspecting optics. The same rhythm a marksman learns under fire. Most of the younger guys thought she was just the gear tech. They saw her adjusting scopes, testing 0 points, tuning triggers with the steadiness of a surgeon. But what they didn't see? She always stood where she could see every exit. There was something about Erin Blake that didn't sit easy. Not because she was threatening, but because she noticed things you didn't even know were there. She scanned rooms differently. Hallways, firing bays. Her eyes weren't just looking, they were calculating. Angles, elevations, blind corners, thermal drift. She knew where an ambush might happen before the thought crossed anyone else's mind. She could name the make and weight of a vehicle. By engine pitch, before it even turned the corner. During routine inspections, she handled rifles like a trauma surgeon handles scalpels. No wasted motion. She could spot stress fractures in carbon steel, detect worn springs just by trigger tension, and call out flawed ammo from 30 feet without even touching it. But what rattled most people, even the seasoned operators, was how quiet she was. Erin moved like fog through the corridors, soundless. You wouldn't hear her. You'd just turn, and she'd already be there. A few recruits even admitted later, she startled them more than live fire. There was always a sense of something else with her. A layer no one could peel back. In the far corner of her workshop sat a single locked container. Everything else, tools, cleaning kits, spare optics, lived in open bins. But not that case. It was sealed tight. No one had the code. No one even asked. Whatever was inside wasn't part of any base inventory. They could guess, though. Some of the older guys whispered that it held gear she'd carried in before. She came here. Tools built for missions that didn't make it into after-action reports. Between drills, when the range went quiet, Erin would stay behind. She'd sit at her bench, not tinkering, but studying. She'd lay out satellite images and terrain scans you couldn't Find in the training syllabus. Run her finger across elevation maps, murmuring to herself. Not about rifle cleaning or recoil, but wind direction at high altitudes, angles of fire from crumbling rooftops, moisture in upper air layers. Her notebooks, filled edge to edge with formulas most instructors couldn't follow. Wind shift tables in rare weather systems, bullet drop projections for ultra-long range shots, and atmospheric pressure charts tied to low visibility zones. This wasn't standard prep. This was the kind of work you do when you only get one shot, and a human life depends on it. But the strangest thing, she counted, silently, all the time. During drills, Erin's lips would move, not speaking, just repeating numbers. 7 digits, over and over like a silent code only she understood. One recruit, years later, recalled how he blew a key shot during a live sim. He expected her to snap, or at least correct him, but Erin didn't raise her voice. She just looked at him and asked, "Did you put your teammate's life behind that trigger?" That was it. One question. His hands never shook on the rifle again, because Erin Blake wasn't just about precision. She understood the weight behind a bullet, the gravity that travels faster than any round. Then came Operation Black Vortex. SEAL Team 8 had been sent in to extract civilian researchers from a shattered city sector, overrun, full of sniper nests, debris choke points, and comm blackouts. The initial entry was smooth, controlled, textbook. But the exfil route, a trap. Every intersection boxed in. Enemy snipers posted high. Rooftops, steel girders, shattered hotel balconies. No sniper overwatch, no air cover, clouds too thick, comms too dirty. One SEAL already down. The others were pinned. They needed cover fire. Not chaos, precision. A clean corridor. Measured shots to drop enemy sight lines and buy them 20 meters of escape. Back at base, Erin Blake was watching. Not casually, I locked in. Eyes on the drone feeds, thermal overlays, and audio intercepts. She traced their fire patterns between muzzle bursts, studied enemy movement, watched how they reloaded. She understood them, because she'd faced this exact formation before. Somewhere no one had asked her about. And then, she stood. Silently, calmly. She reached for that sealed case in the corner. The setup was textbook, too textbook. Erin Blake had seen corridor traps like this before, in places no one wrote reports about. It was the kind of layout that looked familiar, right before it turned fatal. She didn't wait for orders. Inside her private locker, the one no one else touched, sat a weapon that wasn't on any base-issued list. The MKX-17, a precision sniper rifle she'd rebuilt from the ground up. Tuned for urban conflict, it hummed with the cold efficiency of something made not in theory but in memory. She pulled it out, attached her custom thermal scanner, a tool she'd designed herself, built not for open battlefields but tight, suffocating city war zones where movement was measured in inches and echoes could mean death. She didn't ask for transport. She grabbed an off-road military bike and rode out alone, 7 clicks northwest. Position 3, the only angle from which a clean corridor could be carved. The only path no one else had the instinct or the nerve to take. Her comms activated, low and steady. Warden 3, 4 blockages confirmed. Clearing each one. Hold formation. Be ready to move. Back in the kill zone, the SEALs were pinned. Every corner covered. One man already bleeding out. And then Erin fired. Her first round dropped a rooftop spotter, tracking the team's flank. The next shattered the pivot gun anchoring the intersection, a machine nest designed to funnel the team into a fatal bottleneck. From her perch, she wasn't just sniping. She was reprogramming the battlefield. Each shot wasn't just about kills. It was tactical design. She was removing keystones, the backbone of enemy positions, and the entire structure began to collapse. Enemy chatter turned panicked. They couldn't trace the direction. They didn't know how many shooters. All they knew, their trap was crumbling. Erin followed a rhythm. Not just targets, she hit gear first. Optics, tripods, ammo belts. It sent confusion spiraling through the enemy line. Men scrambling to find functioning weapons instead of returning fire. Her MKX-17 adjusted on the fly, a weapon built for combat's unpredictability. And that custom thermal sensor? It cut through walls, ash, smoke, even debris from collapsed buildings. She could see what they couldn't. And she struck before they even moved. Every time SEAL Team 8 reached a choke point, a fresh lane was already open. A corridor that didn't exist 10 seconds ago, now surgically carved by a single woman they hadn't seen in months. The pace didn't feel reactive. It felt scripted, but it wasn't. Erin was reading the field in real time, adjusting, adapting, moving one shot ahead like a grandmaster in a firefight. From her vantage, she tracked every piece. Enemy clusters. SEAL movement. Environmental collapse. She wasn't just Overwatch. She was the invisible force rewriting the odds. The squad's desperate retreat shifted into a coordinated maneuver. They moved like they had cover, because they did. Not from air support. Not from command. From Erin Blake. Her comms stayed sharp, tight. Nothing that risked operational security. Path Alpha is clear. Move in 30. Bravo Junction neutralized. You're good. Last corridor, open. No contact for 50 meters, go now. The enemy tried to recover. Tried to set new kill zones, re-establish fallback perches. But Erin had seen this before. City tactics weren't guesswork to her. They were patterns. And she already knew the next 3 moves. She pre-fired on locations that hadn't yet become threats. Empty rooftops. Blind corners. Shots that looked wasted. Until those spaces tried to light up. And found themselves already silenced. This wasn't just cover fire. It was a lesson in battlefield control. Every shot, every pause, every redirect. It was the hand of someone who'd been here before, under real fire, with real lives on the line. Whoever was out there wasn't guessing. They were rewriting the fight in real time. The comms had a rhythm. The targets fell in a sequence that wasn't random. It was chess. Every hit came just ahead of movement, shaping the team's path before they even took the next step. From the command hub, Colonel Colton Reeve leaned closer to the screen. This wasn't the work of some support tech with good aim. This was a veteran sniper, and not just any sniper. Someone who knew how to carve survival out of chaos. Reeve started digging. Erin Blake's personnel file wasn't standard issue. Half of it was sealed. Some of it didn't even appear in the main database. Later, during mission review, one SEAL told it straight. I saw a hostile lining up a shot on my buddy, 2 steps ahead of me. And then he just dropped. No sound, no warning. I knew somebody out there was clearing our path 1 step at a time. Erin didn't stop until the last operator was at extraction. That first round? It punched clean through 8 inches of cracked concrete, dead center into a northern sniper's chest. The second came from a shifted angle, smashed a machine gunner's knee, collapsing his position in seconds. Every shot opened a lane where seconds earlier there had been none. No wasted motion. No hesitation. Just pure precision. On comms, one SEAL finally said what they were all thinking. It's like someone's running this op from a script. Erin's voice came back low, steady, almost distant. I don't write scripts. I just remember where 7 people died when they couldn't get out. In the command center, Reeve bypassed a security lock. An encrypted entry slid onto his screen. These weren't clean missions. They were the kind commanders whispered about. The no-win calls. Erin's job, cut a corridor through zones completely owned by enemy forces. Hold it long enough for others to pass through. And then, if she was lucky, make it out herself. But during Operation Thundergate, luck didn't matter. A single bullet, nudged off course by a freak gust of wind, missed its mark by inches. And 7 of her teammates never made it home. After that, she walked away from combat. No more deployments. No more front lines. She requested reassignment to technical work, quiet, invisible. But she never let those 7 positions fade. She trained for them, over and over. The shots she should have made, the angles she should have taken. The sealed files told the rest. Erin Blake wasn't just a sniper. She was a last resort, the kind of operator commanders called when there was no one left to call. Erin Blake's mission was simple on paper. Eliminate anything standing between a trapped unit and their way out. She worked from distances most shooters wouldn't even attempt, corridors no one else could see, lanes only she could open, clearing escape routes 1 bullet at a time. She didn't just do the job. She redefined it. 47 operations. 46 successful extractions. Only 1 failure. And that single failure followed her like a shadow she could never outrun. That shadow's name was Thundergate. A recon unit stranded deep behind hostile lines. Erin positioned herself over 2 miles out, her rifle trained, ready to carve a path in sync with the team's advance. And for most of the mission, it worked flawlessly. Until the end. A sudden wind shift. Barely a whisper in the air, pushed 1 critical round off by inches. The bullet hit a wall instead of its mark. The sound gave away their position. Chaos followed. 7 soldiers never made it out. Through her scope, Erin saw it all. Every movement, every hit. But she was too far to stop it. The official inquiry blamed the weather. She was cleared of fault. They even recommended a medal. She refused it. requested immediate removal from combat status, and she never wore a ribbon for that day. From his office, Colonel Colton Reeve read through her psychological evaluations from that period. The reports were clear. Erin blamed herself completely. No matter what the paperwork said, she memorized the exact spots where each teammate had fallen, built her entire training routine around them. Her work in the tech bay wasn't just maintenance. It was a ritual. Every rifle tested against the same shifting wind pattern that betrayed her. Every scope calibrated for the angles she'd missed. She had turned grief into discipline, loss into readiness. Now, watching the live operation feed, Reeve recognized something in her shooting. The patterns, the timing. This was Sentinel Protocol, the playbook of her old Shadow unit. But she wasn't just matching her old record. She was surpassing it. Thundergate hadn't broken her. It had sharpened her. This wasn't just support fire. It was a reclamation. Every cleared intersection now marked a place she couldn't reach before. Every suppressed ambush was a name she couldn't save back then. Her comms were brief, steady, but every word carried weight. Intersection locked. No friendlies lost in this sector. Path 2 is open. All clear. Final stretch secured. Full team extracted. No casualties. To the untrained ear, they were just status reports. But to Erin Blake, each one was a personal vow, a promise that this mission would not end like Thundergate. In that moment, Colonel Reeve finally understood. Erin hadn't been hiding her combat past. She'd been waiting for one more chance to prove that her worst day was not her limit. Those 7 numbers she always mouthed during drills, they weren't random. They were the men she couldn't bring home. They weren't just numbers. They were coordinates. Each one tied to a brother-in-arms who never made it home. For years, Erin Blake had rehearsed those exact shots, over and over until they lived in her bones, her breath, her heartbeat, so that no wind, no bad angle, no unseen variable could ever take her off target again. 7 paths cleared. 0 missed. If you believe in the kind of warrior who doesn't fight to take lives, but to protect them, then Erin's transformation, from guilt-ridden survivor to unshakable guardian, was one of the rarest redemption arcs you'll ever see. After the mission, Command tried to pin medals on her. Commendations, speeches, ceremony. She refused them all. Back at base, she disassembled her rifle piece by piece, cleaned it with slow, deliberate precision, locked it back in storage, and walked away without a single word. But the ripple she left behind, that would change doctrine for decades. Instructors quietly updated the SEAL training curriculum. A new standard, Clean Corridor Protocol, became core across every facility. Erin refused every offer to teach a class, stayed away from stages and drill yards. And yet, every single training module began the same way. Drone footage from the Black Vortex extraction. Her shots, one by one. A young recruit watching the replay once asked, how'd she know to fire exactly 12 seconds after Bravo was clear? Colonel Colton Reeve answered, voice low with respect. She didn't calculate it. She lived through it once and survived by that rhythm. The ridge she'd fired from was later marked on official maps as Silent Ridge, not because the enemy didn't know it was there, but because no one heard the shots, only the quiet mercy of safe passage being made possible. From that day forward, doctrine shifted. The mission wasn't just eliminate and advance. It became protect the corridor, give your team space, buy them seconds. Control the pressure. Her math for corridor clearance, once locked in her head, was added to the advanced sniper school playbook. And yet the deeper shift wasn't technical. It was human. The old hyper-competitive mindset in training, kill counts. Fastest shots, bragging rights began to fade. Erin showed them the real measure of an elite operator. Not the number of targets down, but the number of teammates who made it home alive. Her workshop became a quiet pilgrimage spot. Recruits would just happen to stop by, pretending they needed gear checked, when really, they wanted to see the way she handled equipment. Every spring tested, every scope aligned, every trigger balanced, not for perfection on paper, but for one truth. If something fails, someone doesn't come back. Instructors began telling old war stories about unseen sharpshooters in history, who opened escape routes when everything else had failed. Those ghosts weren't myths anymore.
They had a name.
And a face. Erin Blake had become one of them. A living guardian on the razor, edge between chaos and salvation. Training exercises now included pathway-based scenarios, modeled after her missions. Trainees learned to shoot not just for elimination, but for effect. Sometimes the most important shot wasn't the one that killed, but the one that made the enemy hesitate. buying your teammate 3 more seconds to get clear. Erin's influence went far beyond rifle drills. It rewrote the tactical mindset itself. One morning, without any memo or announcement, the facility's motto, once eliminate and advance, had quietly changed. It began showing up on briefing boards, range signs, even the chalk walls outside barracks. Protect and extract. And no one questioned it. Because by then, Erin Blake had redefined what it meant to win. It was never about the number of enemies taken out. It was about how many teammates came home. That simple truth, Erin Blake's truth, began reshaping mission planning at the highest levels. Commanders started building Pathway Guardian doctrine into every extraction plan, understanding that one sharpshooter, in the right place at the right time, could turn a disaster into a rescue. During orientation, instructors told fresh recruits the same thing. The best sniper isn't the one who hits every target. It's the one who never misses a chance to protect someone else. Exactly 1 year after arriving at the facility, Erin transferred out. No one knew where. No one even knew if she was still in the service. But every new SEAL heard the same story in their first week. When you move through a corridor, remember, someone once cleared that path with shots that couldn't miss. In the storage wing, there's a rifle sealed behind glass. No plaque, no explanation. Only a worn engraving along the frame. The Pathway Keeper. The final logs revealed the truth. Erin had founded a defensive marksmanship school for girls in a remote mountain valley. She wasn't teaching combat, she was teaching safety. How to measure distance, read the land, and create safe zones through nothing more than patience, angle, and precision. Every morning she redrew the same hand-sketched map. 7 marked points. These, she'd tell her students, are where I couldn't keep the path open. Now I protect the routes for others. Her students learned geometry as a life-saving skill. Shooting not as a show of power, but as an act of care. They trained to discourage threats, not destroy them. The goal was safety, not dominance. The academy earned a reputation for producing quiet professionals. Shooters who understood that true accuracy isn't about bullseyes. It's about making sure the people you protect make it through untouched. From time to time, whispers drifted back to her old colleagues. A lost hiker guided out of danger by a calm stranger. A rescue team saved by unseen overwatch before they even knew they were in trouble. Law enforcement reports of a silent guardian who vanished before thanks could be given. But Erin never sought credit. She stayed at a distance. Always watching. Always ready. The 7 losses from Thundergate no longer defined her. They drove her. Each time a student landed a perfect precision shot, it honored those she couldn't save. Her influence spread. Special Forces units worldwide began studying pathway clearance not as a tactic, but as a responsibility, a role requiring humility, patience, and vision. Erin Blake began as a survivor carrying regret. She became a guardian who built safety where none existed. Her story proved that redemption doesn't come from medals or parades. It comes from the relentless choice to protect others no matter the cost. And somewhere high in those mountains, she continues her quiet work. No medals, no speeches. Just the knowledge that when someone somewhere needs a way out, there's a set of eyes watching from above. Eyes that know. The most important shot isn't the one that ends danger. It's the one that opens the door.